Hello. As you are most likely aware, a couple weeks ago, relations between Gaijin and the War Thunder community came to a breaking point after another round of proposed economy changes would have made it pretty much impossible to either break even or make a profit within the in-game economy. And coupled after years of poorly received changes, the community finally uh, came together with enough backlash to make Gaijin seemingly panic and acknowledge the fact that there are things that are fundamentally wrong with this game. They canceled the economy changes and they promised to release a roadmap of changes they would make to the game going forward. That roadmap has now released, and today we're just going to go through it and kind of give my thoughts. I'll give my thoughts on the situation overall because I know I haven't really commented on it. Um, like most people, I think I would agree that there are fundamental problems with this game, even though I love it dearly. The economy is, of course, probably one of the biggest ones where you would see patch after patch that seemingly tried to average out all vehicle earnings so that people would be making less and less. One of the primary sources of income I've heard for this game is buying silver lions with golden eagles. Now, we don't have any hard proof of that, I don't think, but I would believe that it is. There's other problems like vehicle balance is just really bad in some places, and they go into a lot of this in the roadmap. So we'll kind of talk about each as we go, but really just to say that there's a really good skeleton of a game here, but just a lot of the outer stuff really has just kind of been neglected and really just kind of destroyed over the years. But let's get into this, and we'll start looking at it. So they kind of start off just saying, like, why they put this out, that this is for transparency and sort of an effort to course correct after all this. And there's a disclaimer here that I've seen people talk about, that if the changes are detrimental to the game's profit, that they'll undo them. And like, people have said that this is predatory. I think this is probably standard for any business. I don't know why you would say we're going to make a change, and if it fucks us, we can't do that because we're stupid. I think any company that would do something like this would be like, if this massively destroys our bottom line, then we're going to have to undo this because we need to make profit. I don't know. Gage doesn't really release their profit figures, I don't think. So anyway, um, we'll go over the economy revision later. That's a separate post I have, but changes to Silver Lions is probably the biggest and most succinct thing. So they're improving profits across the board, which is good. And we can actually bring this up now, where for in realistic, for instance, pretty much all these is going green. I think it's a little hard to read this, but the reward multipliers are going up and the repair costs are going down. Okay, so here, like, actually, we'll talk about this later in a minute because I know what this is a reference to. So calculations of economic parameters for each vehicle of average indicators. So what I think this is basically saying is that all medium tanks, for instance, of like 6.3, they want to cost the same and not break it up by nation. So if we look at this chart, for instance, like, average cost for rank 3 vehicles is going down by about 280 or 13%. And the reward multiplier is going up by 20%. So They kind of want to standardize that. Here, this is the quote-unquote premium insurance, where if you have a premium account, you'll never pay SL after a battle. You still have to make enough to profit, but if you do poorly, you don't lose anything from that. So that's more incentive to get premium, which it's not the worst solution. Free backups to newly purchased premiums. That's nice. It incentivizes people to play the vehicle. Dynamic repair cost reduction. This one's a little bit confusing. I've seen people interpret this in sort of two ways, where it says the shorter the lifetime, the cheaper the repair, without changing the max repair cost. So I've seen some people think that this means the longer your vehicle is in battle, the more it'll cost. The way I read this is that if you spawn in and instantly die, you won't have to pay a lot, just because that's not very fair. So if you get spawn killed, basically, you don't have to pay an extra 8,000 GE, just because you spawn in and have the bad luck to get bombed instantly, which is its own problem, but that's not really the focus of this. But it shouldn't ever cost more than the listed amount. So if a tank has like a 6,000 repair cost, it'll never cost more than that. Capture point reward for vehicles that failed to survive into completion. This is really good. This is something that like Battlefield did, but War Thunder didn't. So especially for like battle maps, if you're helping capture a point and get killed at the last second, you get nothing. Even though you have been helping, and that's really good, because putting yourself on a point basically puts a target on you for not only tanks but CAS especially. So being able to get points just for still doing that is a really good change. Free repair if destroyed by an ally. I didn't actually know you had to pay repairs if you were killed by an ally, but I guess it's good that this is added. And a detailed calculation. So it's always good to see more why things cost what they do. And all this is coming out summer 2023, which is, of course, now, or next month, next season. Progression in research. Condensing of tech trees by grouping of vehicles and decreasing required research points to research vehicles in groups by 2 times. So I think this is about foldering. When I read this originally, I thought this was maybe a reduction across the board, but they're going to put more vehicles in folders, and the vehicles within those folders will be a lot cheaper to research. So the rationale they gave is that they want players to kind of go through the main tech tree further, and if they want to invest in more vehicles for those lineups, that would be in the folders, then it's easier to do that. So that's good. Reduction of research and repair costs for rank 6 to 7 aircraft, pretty self-explanatory. Skill bonuses and RP. So this is nice. This is basically giving you RP bonuses for getting a certain threshold of kills. The ones they've listed are 3 kills to 9 kills, which is 15, 30, and 50% boost. So that's really good. So that means that like if you do really well on your team, win or lose, you'll get more RP for essentially contributing to the battle more. And not just like sitting around. Detailed calculations. Research bonuses for new nations. This is really good. After obtaining a top vehicle of one nation, a bonus is added to the research of vehicles of this type in other nations where the top tier vehicle has not yet been received. Bonus is given 3 battles per day, blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of break it down by ranks. The higher rank, the more bonus you get. So this is like, if you have like the M1A2 SEP, which is the top rank medium tank for the US, you now get a bonus each day for a medium tank in any other nation. So if you've maxed a nation, it's a lot easier to go down another one. And for someone like me who has maxed a nation, well, except for AA, this is really good, because I'm going to get now bonuses for every time I play in any nation. Revision of naval progression. This says nothing about it, so I don't really know what to say. Other progression updates. The free parts in FPE. We finally have them. 1 set of fire prevention and 1 tool. Or not 1 tool, but 1 set of fire. And the ability to field repair all modules, not just mobility. As well as getting standard countermeasures for all researched aircraft. It is an extremely good change. It's something that's been needed for years because of just how the game functions. They aren't really enhancing capabilities; they're just adding like crucial gameplay things. And now you get a basic version for free, and the mod gives you an enhanced version, which I think people would be fine with. And it's really what we should have had for years. Mission repair for repair and fire extinguisher, good. Helicopter research are playing ground vehicles. I did not see this coming, but I guess this is their ultimate solution to the fact that their their helicopter game modes have just been terrible. They just decided to say, screw it, just get helicopters with ground. A bit of a double-edged sword, where people now are going to be able to have helicopters a lot easier. So, that's good for, you as an individual, because now you can get helicopters, but it also means that the people on the enemy team will have more helicopters. In my experience, the worst of it's always been that German tier 1 heli, so I don't really know how much worse it can get. It can get a lot worse. You can do battle tasks and battle pass things with simulator battles, which is nice. It's kind of a neglected game mode. And daily logins in War Thunder Mobile, I don't play that, so. Matchmaking, they disabled night battles. You can optionally turn them on, but I don't know who likes night battles, so they've effectively been taken out of the game. Changing to, okay, so let more people go into high-ranking battles in order to collect more complete battles at a minimal cost and waiting time. So I guess they figure that putting more people into top-tier battles is better, I guess. Displaying BR ranges and map filter, good. They changed how aircraft maps work, where low-tier aircraft are going to be on smaller ones and high-tier on bigger. That's good. Improving the balance of late Cold War era vehicles when the homogeneous steel and full caliber shells by changing the BR. So I'm not entirely sure what this means. Late Cold War era? That'd be like stuff like the Abrams and the T-72s. So I never thought that the balance there was too bad. If they're talking about early Cold War, which seems to be what this is referring to, because they mentioned APDS, ATGM's gun stabilizers. I think they might have mistyped this. But regardless, it bears mentioning that whole sort of 7.7 to 8.7 BR range is really bad because vehicles get massive capability leaps, not just better. And that really has kind of destroyed a lot of the it's destroyed the viability of a large number of vehicles. And I think telling people just not to play them is not a solution. So I hope this is what this is referring to. Locations and missions. So they moved up the attack drones, which is good. I still hate them. But being higher up gives more ability to counter them, I guess. It still relies on people doing that. Hydroplanes, I've never seen that. Reduction of effectiveness in fields and convoys. I guess this is about air. So this overall is kind of talking about that they're going to fix maps. Poland and Eastern Europe are pretty infamous for having really atrocious geography. That makes it pretty much just a sniping fest, which I don't think is fun. They've also said that they're going to change a bunch of maps here. Didn't really go into detail on this one, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, they just said they're going to kind of make a bunch of changes, so we'll see how that goes. If it makes the maps better or worse. Gameplay changes. They're kind of changing how small heat shells work. We'll see about that. Supposedly they're going to be deadlier. Spawn zone protection. They changed it so people shooting into the spawn will see that they are shooting someone who has spawn protection, as well as being marked for the enemy team. The ability to accept an apology for a team kill. Okay. Destructible 3D decoration. So if someone's bushed up, they got bushes all over their tank, you could shoot those off so that they're not good anymore, which is really good. People have wanted that as a solution for people who just cover their tanks with bushes, and you can't see what the hell it is or where to shoot it. Supposedly they fixed ghost shells for the 50th time. We'll see. Changes to physics, maybe. Make it easy to report hate speech. I mean, they have a report feature, but who knows? Okay, then they have this graphic about the update schedule. So they're doing the missions, the matchmaking, the gameplay stuff really early. It's in June 2023. This is La Royale. So this is where they move the strike UAVs, blah, blah, blah. They disabled night battles this patch. Later this month, they're doing the SL mechanics, the progression mechanics, matchmaking stuff. Summer, they're doing research changes, more Silver Lion changes, progression changes, blah, blah, blah. Looks like they're not going to be changing the maps until late summer 2023, which makes sense. That would be a bit of a larger task. Then they get into autumn, where they're giving the skill bonuses, detailed updates, task changes. And then the last thing that they have, which is in October to November, that is when the research bonuses for new vehicles are. So yeah, this overall looks really, really good. More so the fact that they're just being transparent about the fact that there's lots of problems in War Thunder, and I think really that's the first step to being able to fix it is just to admit that there's major problems. And people want this game to be good. Like, people don't want this game to fail. So I think acknowledging that there's issues and people giving their feedback about what they think would make the game better, I think benefits both players and Gaijin, because more people will play, more people will spend money, and it benefits both of them. So, they still have to put their money where their mouth is, but this is putting their, this is speaking it all, which is a pretty big leap forward for Gaijin. They're quite closed off traditionally. So if this all happens, if even the majority of this happens, I think it'll be really good for the game's health overall. Let's get into the economy revision as well. So as I said at the start, it was pretty much difficult to break even, let alone make profit, and that was really the straw that broke the camel's back, where people were just fed up with the idea that they were basically being forced to pay money to play this game, which is ostensibly a free-to-play game. And they have to make they make profits, of course, but that shouldn't be gating the basic economy of the game behind that. So improving the balance of Silver Lions. As I say in the beginning here, there's been more and more stuff to buy with SL over the years, and people just haven't been able to make enough money to buy that. Even I, who has really been able to make SL pretty reliably, in the past years, even I'm struggling to buy vehicles that I research anymore. And then there's a large number of ones that I haven't purchased in my tech trees. So they say that they're going to increase the amount of SL earned and reduce the SL repair cost, which obviously would make it so that people make more money. Repair costs were based on a vehicle's performance. This meant that the best performing vehicles would have the highest repair cost, requiring players to excel. This has been a really big problem with minor nations. France is the obvious example, where French tanks have traditionally cost a lot of money because people of a higher skill play them. But what this effectively does is gate France off to high skilled players. So you can't play France unless you're good. And I think that's a really unhealthy thing to have in the game. And that played into like the fact that you have lineups rather than the capabilities of the vehicles themselves, somehow being better, or the players playing them, which I think is just a terrible way to balance. Let's see. So they're transitioning to a rank-based vehicle economy. So yeah, this is what I talked about earlier, where medium tanks of rank 3 will all cost the same, effectively. This is really good because it means that a nation having better or worse players won't affect how much it costs. So France should go down, and nations like the Soviet Union and Germany should go up, just because their respective players are either better or worse. Because that's just how it is. It is. People gravitate towards certain nations more, and new players are just not as good as the game as old players. That's fine. but people shouldn't be punished either way for that. So they're reducing repair costs, and the way they're calculated. So they're talking about wasting the vehicles. A lot of people say that there's no real point in spawning in a losing game because you're just going to lose money. So maybe they might be talking about this, I think, where spawning in a losing game is not detrimental to your overall economy, which would be really good because I suspect a lot of the reason certain nations tend to lose so much is a bit of a death spiral where players lose and so they don't spawn in again, which leads to them losing. So, the obvious example is, top tier, Russia, where people tend to spawn in those vehicles constantly because they cost so little to repair. And as a result, they win because just sheer overwhelming force. And, other countries like the US or Britain, whose vehicles are very expensive, they're like, I'm not going to spawn in because I'm just going to get rolled over by a horde of Russian tanks. And then they lose because they don't spawn in again. And it's a self, it devours itself. So, if they make a change about that, hopefully that can kind of undo the oppressiveness of Russia at top tier. Especially since countries like Britain actually have more MBTs in their base tree. Okay, so it's saying that certain vehicles may have different things if they have special circumstances, such as vehicle capabilities. I think that makes sense. So something with like ATGMs might cost a little more than a light tank without ATGMs. They're not going to change armor thickness or top speed to change the vehicle's performance. I think that's fine. People don't want that. That's World of Tanks. The impact on helicopters and arcade mode will be limited. Okay. French 15. Okay, so they're giving an example here. The Mars 15, which is that little French light tank, it's going to be halved, 11,000 to 5,900. Launch and road multiplier goes up, so that's like really good. So that's exactly what I was talking about, where French vehicles cost a lot, and reward very little because really good people tend to play them. Talk about other examples here, but they're all pretty much the same across the board, where stuff costs less to repair and earns you more. And then they have the voting thing down here. So if you are on board with this, which I think most of us should be, go vote that you are, in fact, on board. I already did. Income insurance. So this is what I talked about, where if you have a premium account, you'll never lose money, but you do still have to do good in order to make money. That's good. Dynamic reduction. Okay, so they go into more detail here. Evident that an actual vehicle of a lifespan of a vehicle can vary greatly in different scenarios, like if you get bombed. Consider this: the player surviving for 10 minutes, eliminating 5 or 6 enemies, capturing a point, blah blah blah. Repair cost of 6 to 7k, quite insignificant. On the other hand, being taken out in the initial minutes of battle without taking a shot, or being captured make it appear significantly worse. The price is the same, but the consequences are a lot more negative. Okay, so this maybe it actually is like when you die within the match. Oh no, it's both, I think. Or maybe it's just like, how long you've been alive. Okay, yeah, so they are just saying that, like, if you're alive for a short period, you'll pay less because you basically didn't have the chance to do anything. We hope this mechanic will make repairs more forgiving in the event of an unsuccessful battle. Yeah, that kind of sums it up. Improvements of premiums. Premiums always break even, but the even premiums have been struggling, is what they're saying. So they're going to give backups for each newly acquired premium, so you can familiarize yourself before you start having to actually be good, and they'll make more money. Team kill penalties is only really a problem in air and simulator. Let's see what they say about this. Remove having to pay for repairs if vehicles are destroyed by an ally. Ooh. I thought that was an in. I guess it's good that it isn't. If your team killed, you can accept an apology. I somehow suspect that won't be quite common. But it won't kind of be a black mark against them, which I guess is fine if like you're one person and someone bombs and gets 4 other kills. You can be like, okay, well, I guess he got a net positive overall. I'll forgive him. Capture point rewards. This is good. Partial capture will give you rewards. Capturing points can be fairly risky, so this will incentivize players to capture points. That's exactly what it is. If you go on a point, you have a big target on your back. More detailed battle log. Exactly how your stuff is being calculated. That's something I would have to see to kind of know what the heck they're talking about. Okay, progression in RP. Streamlining research vehicles and reducing the RP cost. So, folded vehicles. They're going to folder more vehicles. So you have to research fewer. This is kind of the opposite of something that they had been kind of wanting to do, which is unfolding a lot of vehicles to force you to research. Like, for instance, the Soviets in rank 6 have 5 MBTs in both of their medium tank lines, which is kind of excessive. That's 10 tanks if you want to get in either the T-72 or T-80 lines. So they're going to be foldering more vehicles so that you can kind of get through the meat of the tech tree faster. But not only that, there's going to be a 50% reduction in the research cost to vehicles within a folder, which is really good. They sum it up saying, our intention is to encourage regular gameplay with foldered vehicles while simultaneously enabling players to skip vehicles that don't pique their interest. So that's really good. Yeah, that's just really good. Reducing the research and repair purchase cost of rank 6 to 7 aircraft. I have precisely no aircraft in those tiers, but it's always good to see them go down. Rewarding your skill. So this is the reward for killing a lot of enemies. So this is good. I think mostly in losing battles where if you suck it up and stick it out and you get kills, you'll still get a bigger bonus than if you just gave up. They have 3, 6, and 9 kills for bonuses. Yeah, that's really good. Researching new in-game nations. Yes, this is the top vehicle thing. The RP bonus, say 15%, 25, 35, 50% for the different ranks. So that's really good. People had wanted the old first battle of the day bonuses. First 3 battles played each day. Okay, so I think this is just overall, maybe not per nation. That might, but this is really good regardless. People have wanted this, so this is the one-time boost. A lot of games have this, and I think it's good. And a more detailed battle log. Yeah, so overall, this is really good. This has been a long time coming. And it's good that Gaijin has finally admitted that there's problems and that they're willing to change. Like I also said, that they need to actually go through with these and not reduce them back. But you know, I'm glad to see this. This is something that hopefully should lead to an overall healthier game. But yeah, you know, just make sure that they do follow up, you know, in the months to come, and hopefully, you know, they continue to add more changes based on feedback. I know a lot of people are upset with, you know, the balance of close air support in ground. There's problems with, you know, there's problems with all sorts of things. But being willing to change is really, I think, what's healthiest for this game and will help it continue to be played. That's pretty much it. So hopefully you like this kind of unscripted analysis of a major thing. I've got more videos coming out in the next couple days, so be sure to like and subscribe for those in the future. Thank you for watching.